So let's get into the motivation stuff. Let's really realise how good you really are, okay? Now, it isn't puffing smoke or whatever you want to say, is we have a choice. We can be negative or we can be positive, okay? Now, being positive, what it does, it opens up things in your mind and energies around you. Yes, energies around you, and things are better for it. Now, you're still going to have challenges. Things are still going to go wrong, okay? But you're going to have things around you that are going to support and help you because you're in a mindset of being positive. Now, at the end of the day, I know one thing. I know what it is to be down and out, and I know what it is to be, whatever the opposite of that is, up and about and enjoying my life, you know. And I hear, you know, when people never get on the boat of positive thinking and it's this and it's that and whatever, it's whatever you want it to be. Nothing has any meaning other than meaning you get it. But what we've realised in life is that when you've got a mindset that's more towards what works, asking questions, powerful questions like, you know, how can I make this work for me? What am I learning from this? Yeah, because every word and every thought has a friend, and that friend, if you're going down a negative road, is going to get you more negativity. You start questioning yourself, not in a powerful way, but in a disempowering way. Why does it always happen to me? I mean, that's a classic. You know, you tell somebody, oh, you know, I'm accident prone. Well, don't be stupid. Yeah, you might have had the odd accident here and there, but you just got to change your thinking. If you're not good at something, get better at it. But don't just keep, you know, staying in that space, because that space is just a label. You've taken that label from the actions you've been making, from people who know, like, and love you, unknowingly saying jokingly, you know, you always have an accident, whatever it is. So listen, realise that you're very special and very unique, and you can change anything you want to change. Now, that is true. That really is true. There's people from all over this planet that have come from some places that ain't nice, and they've turned their world around. We're focused at the moment, the media, all the media want to do is share stuff that gets you clicking and, you know, on the internet and doing this and doing that. Half of it's not even correct stuff these days. We know that. It's been like that forever, but today, unfortunately, because of these, it goes straight to your pocket or whatever. And of course, everybody's walking about getting their little hump ready on their back because they're constantly like this. It's a negative. Now, it's also addictive. The addictiveness behind that, that's the wind. I've got it flying all over the place. It's lovely being up this high, but it does get windy. Now, the thing here is you've got to remember this. When we talk about positive mental attitude, we talk about, you know, the way that we think, what we focus on. Now, knowingly or unknowingly, again, is that's what's happening to you, me, and everybody, unless you're disciplined enough to put things like this down. Just use it for phone calls or your emails or what you want, or on and off. Be disciplined, because the people who run these things and are behind all these things, they know how to manipulate us. I mean, you know as well as I do, you can put the same stuff into your phone and have your family member beside you or your good friend, yeah, and you live close together, you're up to stuff all the time together, but you see, they get right into that phone, just like the way your thinking works. And they know what's going on, and they know that when you put your information, ask the same question that your friend or your loved one's going to ask on their phone sitting beside you, you can get two different answers quite often. It happens. It's the same as the way we think. There is something around us, a powerful energy and a source. Without going too deep into that, what you think about does come about, okay? You can change anything in your life. You just got to start with making a choice and a decision to do so, okay? Now, nobody's perfect, or are they? There's a big belief out there, and at the centre of our core, we are perfect, and then of course we get born, as Zig used to say, you're born to win, conditioned to fail. Now, you're born to win. If everything's good and cool with you, and you've got all your faculties about you, you can literally change your life, your destiny. The thing that Tony Robbins always talks about, your destiny. You're in charge of it, and the more you study you, the more you get to understand that. Now, I love putting these little posts up, and I hope some of you get something out of it, but realise that you are special, you are unique. There's nobody else like you out there. And if you're in a hole and you're down and you're out, you can get out. But it starts with your thinking. Now, you ain't going to know how it's going to happen, but I promise you, if you keep on thinking in a negative way and looking at all the things what you see, hear, smell, taste and touch that you don't like, all you're doing is responding to what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling, what you're touching. Okay, you're not even responding, you're reacting to it, because this happens, it makes you do that, cause and effect. But you've got the power within you. If you're willing to take the time to learn about it, you have the power within you to create your own world. When I say that, for your health, for your financial situation, for your relationships, whatever you really want, it's there for you to sort out. You've got to sort it out. How do you do that? Listen, I work with people all day long. I love it. There's other great people just like me out there who will help you get where you want to go. Why? Because we care. Why? Because we've been down, we've been out. There's nothing worse in life than trying to learn something from somebody who doesn't know what you're going through, your version of whatever that is. You're human, which means you can change. Yes, people charge money. People charge a lot of money. But when you get down and you sit with the good quality people out there, they've also, didn't just happen for them. They invested in themselves. I see stuff and you look at stuff and you just know, no, that doesn't match up, doesn't work what the person's saying. And you look at somebody and think, yeah, that person just focused maybe on this part of his life or her life, and that's money or whatever it is. And you can see, you got to get the whole thing right. That's something that I learned, and I learned that through working with Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins is always talking about the whole, the circle of life. And lots of people do, by the way. I just use Tony because I spent a lot of time in Tony's environment. Now, there's so many great people out there. Bob Proctor put together a wonderful program with Sandy Gallagher. Well, Sandy Gallagher put it together. It was very clever the way they'd done it, actually. I'm going to keep talking. I know you're going to hear the wind blowing out there. It's windy Manchester in the UK, is where I am. And they put together a great program. They ask great questions. How can we take all this knowledge that's been shared in bits and pieces into a program and bring it together? And that's what I invite you to do. Step into one of these programs. You can step into it with me. In 12 to 24 weeks, you will know things about yourself and get results that will blow your mind. But there's not just me, there's so many other people out there as well. Because the thing is, if you're geared to the negative, what you're going to do is be in this space, it's this, it's that, you've got all these judgments, but you have no idea because you've never looked. You've never looked. I remember going to a Tony Robbins event first time, and it was phenomenal. I mean, everybody's jumping up and down, and if you're an outsider looking in, which a dear friend of mine who lives down in Essex is, he used to say, oh, it's all mumbo jumbo. He said, I walked past, I was all jumping about. Well, yeah, we were actually doing something that was so powerful for who we are as human beings, and being able to stay in a room for 12 to 15 hours, some days went a bit longer, and you didn't realise the time went like that. And you tapped into a side of you that is so it's challenging to explain unless you've actually experienced it and seen it for yourself, what's possible for human beings. I've seen it at events, whether it be with Tony, Bob Proctor. I've been at the Landmark Forum and seen amazing. I've seen people's faces changing, literally letting go of so much stress in a conversation. That stress that people like you, yes, you, carry around with you. I used to. I know how to de-stress that now. There's so many different things you can do to get rid of stress. Now, unfortunately, sadly, the advertisers and the people out there who want to take your money, what they will do is they'll get you to have a beer, or there's nothing wrong with having a beer, but too many people go too far, or it's a smoke. I mean, the government, what have they done now? They've legalised things that used to be illegal. Why? Why? Do they want it? They can't have an agenda. They have to. They're tapping into a $1 trillion, £1 trillion, multi-million pound business, whatever it is. You see, at the end of the day, everything's got to work with integrity. Now, the challenge you got is if everybody who ever looks at something like this responds in a positive way and steps up, you're getting more people not being pulled or in directions through the media, through, governments have always been the way they are. Whether you vote this way or vote that way, you do need governments, because otherwise there would be chaos as much as there's chaos with them. But we need some kind of order. Now, the more people who jump on the bandwagon of understanding what it is to be human and using it for good, being a force for good, helping others. Because you're going to go further in life the more you do for others. You've got to do for yourself, yes you do, but you have to do for others. Not everybody wants to get on. That's why so many people all around the world, when they can get something for free, they keep getting it. And for the same reason they keep wanting it and getting it, it's the same reason that you can go on and create your own world. Now, you may not want to fly first class, you may not want a big fancy home. At the moment, you just may want to pay the bills. And then there's those of you that, want to earn your first 10 grand a month, $10,000, £10,000, 10,000 euros, whatever it is. There's those of you that want to have your first £100,000 a month, and so on and so forth. And I can tell you, I know what it's like. Yeah. And it's good, and I'm grateful for it. But when you've been doing it for a while, you kind of get used to it. The trick is, if there's people stuck in life, help them. If it's money they want, let's do it. But 9 times out of 10, it's not the money. It is initially. But as they start realising, they can start creating and building a fulfilling life, because they're happy in all the areas of their life. And you've got to keep working at it. It doesn't just happen and then you got it. You've got to keep working on yourself. You've got to keep studying the stuff. Zig used to say it, and I love saying it. You've got to have a check-up from the neck up. What is it you're thinking? Because once those thoughts get in there, remember, every thought's got a friend. Going back to the people who say, why does it always happen to me? Because of that statement. That's why it always happens to you. I mean, we have this most amazing thing up here. We have a brain up here, but there's a mind, and the mind's in every cell of our body. Yeah? And that's personal training. Clients, once they understood that they had to get this bit and a picture in here, things changed for them.